Big fluff.
All right, I'll give you guys one more chance. Fetch!
Sir Guy Cracknell, Knight of the British Empire.
Sorry. Oh, you all right? I got him good. I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry.
I gotta get out of here.
Hey everybody, I'm Joel Murphy.
And I'm Andy McIntyre.
And this is Silver Linings Playback, the podcast where we watch maligned movies and we find their silver linings.
And it is November, which is a month where people eat turkeys because of Thanksgiving. And another sport with turkeys is bowling. And a movie with bowling is King Ralph.
Yep.
So we're watching King Ralph.
I love you laid out the transitive property of why we're doing this movie right at the top. And
listen,
I love it.
Why hold back?
Yeah. And that is the exact thought process that Andy and I had when coming up with this month. And I'm proud of it, but I will admit at the top that I think our memories might have failed us because, and the internet failed us because we did research this as well. That clip is about the entirety of the bowling that is in King Ralph. Gonna just get in front of that.
Let's get that out there. I will say that at some point or another, our podcast was always going to lead us to King Ralph at some point.
Yes. Yeah. All roads lead to King Ralph. It also fits with the other, if we were to spell it differently, the only other idea that I had for this month, which was I wanted to do something with November Rain. And I think if we had done REIGN, we could be doing King Ralph right now, too.
It fits there, too.
Yeah. So
whatever theme. So you'll see next week which one we decide to go with, whether we watch a different bowling movie or Hard Rain starring Christian Slater.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything's possible. Maybe we'll do all of it.
We could watch Bowfinger with Chubby Rain. You know, that whole.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are doing King Ralph, which is a movie that I watched a lot as a child.
This is another one of those movies. I had seen it because it was ubiquitous on USA for sure. But this movie is in that rarefied air of like Single White Female and other movies in that everyone knows about it. Indecent Proposal, I would also put in that category, where everyone knows about it, but not everybody's seen it.
Yeah. Also, when you said Single White Female, what I thought you were saying is movies that are better with John Goodman in them, because he's not in it. But come on, what if someone was single white femaling John Goodman? I'm in.
Sold. Sold
immediately. Yeah, but it's please note the way I said it, because I watched King Ralph a lot when I was a kid. I don't know that I ever had an affinity for it. It just was on and I would watch it because I like John Goodman.
Yeah. And this is his first above the title billing in a movie.
Yeah. It's his first, like, he pushes it back a lot on the idea of being a leading man. But this is, his first like leading man role for someone who has his entire life always wanted to be a character actor and probably is the gear that he fits most comfortably in. But yes, he did this while he was doing Roseanne. This movie proved that there was money to be made in one Jonathan Goodman.
Yeah. And listen, John Goodman is probably at his best playing a quirky character with a short fuse in a Coen Brothers movie.
Yes.
But he's pretty good in everything.
I'm going to come out even stronger than pretty good in everything. I think if you really pressed me, I've said it recently when we did Virtuosity, that Denzel Washington is my favorite actor of all time. If you ask me for my second favorite actor of all time, John Goodman, and they work together a lot. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I love John Goodman. I think he's ridiculously underrated as an actor. I think he's one of the greatest working actors of our life. So that's where I'm at.
No, John Goodman is amazing.
Yeah.
He is earnest, genuine, real, understands the assignment every time out of the gate.
Yes.
And
here's the thing.
Everything.
This movie is nothing, and we're going to get into all the reasons that it's nothing. And to tip our hands of the silver linings early, it's only watchable because of John Goodman.
Yeah. It's certainly not watchable for Rose Tyler's mom.
Yeah, which we will get into. And also Peter O'Toole, who once again finds himself on this podcast. That's right. We're coming at Peter O'Toole hot. You know, oh, he's so great, Peter O'Toole. Well, then why does he keep ending up in these movies that we keep talking about?
Why has he never won an Oscar?
Why has he never won an Oscar? Yeah. And why has he never won an Oscar? And also ask Kevin Smith or Jason Mewes. Ben Affleck is the bomb in Phantoms. Is Peter O'Toole? Nobody's ever said that.
No, we've watched Phantoms and he is in fact not the bomb.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Listen. Yeah. This movie is such a nothing burger.
Yes.
It's such a nothing burger that I revived the term nothing burger for describing this movie. It is the blandest, most toothless, aimless comedy that I can think of at the top of my head right now.
Well, I think, yeah, you said it to me. You texted me when you were watching it. And I think you did nail it in that it doesn't really have a perspective. Is the idea that he's a boorish American who, you know, is offending the sensibilities of the British monarch? Is the idea that the British monarch needs some American,
boorish American?
Yeah, like some American machismo to shake it up? I don't know. I don't think it knows. It's just, what if a guy named Ralph, who was John Goodman, became king? That would be weird.
Yeah, what if John Goodman, American lounge singer, becomes and bowling enthusiast becomes king?
Yeah. And I think, you know, as good a place as any to start when discussing this movie is how he becomes king, because I think this is really, let's just start right at the beginning, squarely at our opening. Our first scene in the movie is the entirety of the British monarch is together at the castle to get a portrait taken of all of them. They're standing on a metal stage and they are cartoonishly electrocuted and killed.
Yes, because it had just rained. There's pooling water near all of the electrical outlets to power the lights and cameras to take this photo. And all of them, children, elderly, adults, fried.
And it's treated as silly, and then it's never addressed again. Nobody in England is in any way concerned that the entire British monarch was killed in one foul swoop. Nobody suspects anything. No one thinks they might have been murdered. There's no investigation into their deaths. We're just moving on.
Listen, I remember how much England ground to a halt when Queen Elizabeth II passed away.
Yeah.
And she was a centenarian.
Mm-hmm.
And a beloved woman, you know, deservedly so. Classy, etc. Helen Mirren, all of it.
I don't like her. I'm gonna play the opposite. I don't care about the monarch. I don't care about no king. I'm in America. I'm a boorish American. I am King Ralph. I don't care.
I don't care either, but I'm saying that this is how the English felt.
Yeah. Or a lot of Americans. There are some.
And too many Americans.
Yeah, there are a lot of Americans that
Americans.
love the British monarch. So, you know.
God, I can remember early in my teaching career, it might have even been my first year, but because of like coaching responsibilities and everything, all the work that other teachers did after school, I did before school. And so one morning I got to work at early, usually like an hour before students would start arriving. And there were like 6 of my colleagues all watching the royal wedding of William and Kate. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
You know what? I also, because I've already gotten a little hot. I got one more thing just to, after all those nice things I said about John Goodman, who is in my mind a national treasure. I do have to say something harsh about King Ralph, which is because they say it multiple times in this movie. Every time they announce him, one of the things that they announce him as is the King of the North of Ireland. And he is not. I don't recognize that. I do not acknowledge him. The North of Ireland has no king. And Truckee our law. That's all I'm saying.
With their tanks and their
exactly.
bombs and their bombs and their guns in your head, they're dying.
Look, I mean, picture me as Wesley Snipes with tears in my eyes, but I will not recognize even King Ralph as any kind of king of Ireland. That is not why my ancestors came to America.
That is the official title of the King of England, though.
I know, but I'm just telling you, it made me mad every time they said it. So
listen, that's. Do your roots trace to Northern Ireland? Have you found that out?
No, but it's
like, yeah, my family's from Belfast, you bugger. What are you talking about?
That was me. That movie Belfast, that was my life. That was basically my childhood, was me fleeing, getting to America.
Mine was Dairy Girls.
All I can tell you is I interviewed Kneecap and I like those boys. So, you know.
Listen, they're good boys. They're good boys. And you should respect those boys. Those boys in Kneecap, they're good boys.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, you should listen to those boys.
Exactly. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, not my King Ralph.
Not my King Ralph. Yeah. Anyway, where were we? What were we talking about?
Okay, so the entire monarch dies. They don't even hold a funeral for the queen. They just move on.
Well, I mean, they do have during the credits, there is the funeral procession that they show.
Oh, I guess, you know what, you're right. They hand wave past it so quickly.
Okay, 37 people die in this electrical fire.
Yeah.
2 caskets.
2 caskets, and it's all of 3 seconds of screen time. Also, want to point out, based on the opening clip, the corgis survived, so that's good. That is good news.
The real King of England.
Yeah. All the corgis are fine, so that is nice. But yeah, so they all die. Nobody cares, and then they have to find an heir, and they realize that Ralph, who is a Vegas lounge singer, has the best claim to the throne because his grandmother had a dalliance with a prince, I believe, or so, you know, someone in the royal family, and he had given her a royal insignia ring, and because she was dead, and because Ralph's parents are dead, and he is the only living survivor, he now has the best claim to the throne of England.
Or so we're led to think.
But so that's how he becomes King Ralph. He is taken to England, where Peter O'Toole is tasked with making him a proper British gentleman.
I think there's an important part you're skipping, is that while he was the lounge singer in Vegas, he was opening for Mitski the Psychic Chimp.
Yeah, who he also in that opening scene gets fired and replaced by Mitzi. They're just expanding Mitzi's act. Right. So he was about to be fired as a lounge singer in Vegas. But yeah, so then he's taken to England. Peter O'Toole trains him along with Richard Griffiths. And they really try to get him up to shape. He does more than the King of England actually does throughout the movie. In terms of, like, you know, he's like really controlling policy and like really telling the prime minister how it's going to be.
Economic policy, making trade deals.
He demands to speak to Parliament and they let him, and then he tells them how it's going to be at the end. So he's really swinging. Yeah.
And like, to malign this movie, like, had it been a little more My Fair Lady or Pygmalion or She's All That, maybe that makes a better movie. I don't know. That, you know, like, oh, and the other thing is that John Hurt is another member of Parliament who has the second most legitimate claim to the throne, or so we're led to believe.
Yeah, he believes
so he's
it.
constantly trying to undermine King Ralph at every turn.
Yes. So then the other thing that you kind of alluded to before is there's a character named Miranda who he meets because he goes to I'd say it's like a burlesque house. It's not even really like a strip club, but she's doing burlesque. She's claiming to be from Vegas, even though she is very British. He meets her, befriends her. John Hurt gets wind of this and decides to try to pay her off in order to get a photo of them together, to embarrass them. Because if there's one thing that the British monarch can't weather, it's any kind of scandal. If anything negative were to ever come out of any member of the British family, it would destroy them immediately.
Yes, if any member of the British family were to have a dalliance with an attractive blonde of questionable noble background.
Yeah. Could you imagine the king or a prince or anyone marrying some sort of commoner of a questionable background and how England would react to that? And then,
Could you imagine if, like, let's say maybe not the first in line to the throne, but like the brother of the next in line to the throne were to marry like a TV actress?
Yeah. Who was maybe in the television show Suits, for example.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. So
crazy.
So yeah, I mean, it's like the whole thing is very questionable because I don't really understand. Yeah, it's like he's not married. And so at best, it's like that he's consorting with a commoner, which is really like there's nothing that he's doing that would get him kicked out of being the king. But that's the entirety of John Hurt's plan. And then there's a fake African country that he's working with to that wants to build cars. And he's also supposed to get married in an arranged marriage to consolidate his power to a woman with a comical voice.
Played by fantastic actress Jolie Richardson.
Yes. Yeah. Who I don't
of the Redgrave and all of that acting dynasty.
Yeah. She's in it. And yeah, she's real horny to bang him, I guess is her thing too. Like
listen.
Yeah. Tracks.
1991 John Goodman.
Yeah.
I'm not hating it.
Absolutely tracks that any woman who meets John Goodman within 5 minutes would want to have sex with him. I do believe that.
Yeah. He's got that magnetism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And through a bunch of shenanigans, chicanery, and tomfoolery, he abdicates the throne and then realizes that his man-at-arms, Sir Cedric, is actually more in line for the throne, who didn't want it. And then Cedric becomes king. They arrest the evil Lord Percival Graves, played by John Hurt.
For treason. That did. I mean, I was like, I don't really know anything about British laws, and maybe that's treason, but that's wild that like trying to get the king's photo taken with a woman of a questionable background is treason.
Well, it's trying to obstruct the ascension of the throne, for which the penalty is death.
I know. That's what I'm saying is like, I kind of had that watching this time where I'm like, I think that might be too much. I don't know if what he did is treason.
Yeah.
Because also, let's be clear about this. I do want to stay on this for a minute because essentially, outside of the fact that he wants the paparazzi, which the British paparazzi, I mean, they killed Diana. They're terrible. But like outside of the fact that he's trying to get them to get a photo, essentially what he is guilty of is pushing Ralph towards the woman he loves.
Yeah.
Like he invites her to the party he's like John Hurt more than anyone else in this movie is responsible for them being together at the end of the movie.
Yes, it is all John Hurt's fault.
Yeah, but which again, Ralph is happy about, but also wants this dude to die.
Which, tracks.
Yeah. But yeah, that's King Ralph basically. And yeah, there are times where they kind of play the like Ralph is surprisingly charming and he's really pulling this off. There are other times where he's terrible. There's a scene where he goes to Burger King. You know, there's stuff happens.
Because he's a king.
Because he's a king
of burgers. Before we get too much into other reasons to malign this, I think many would be shocked to know that this movie is based on a book. And that's not where it ends, though.
That book, Game of Thrones.
That book, The Shining.
Stephen King liked this
guy
one better.
Has to go. No, I mean, listen, this guy has to go to this big house where a bunch of people are pulling him in directions that he doesn't want to go, at the expense of maybe his family and his honor. It's the same story.
Yeah, woman in a bathtub, woman taking her clothes off on stage. Same thing.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the novel is called Headlong. King Ralph, already better title. So that's one. But here's where the book is objectively superior. So in the movie, Peter O'Toole plays Sir Cedric Charles Willingham. Okay. In the movie, that character is named William Millingham, and that's a better name.
The names are better. Well, King Ralph is better. So by my count, we're 1-1.
We're even. Oh, wait, I've got it.
Okay.
So John Hurt's character in the movie is Sir Percival Graves. Okay. Very British sounding. In the novel, the character is Sir Godwin Rod.
I mean, Sir Rod is pretty good.
Yeah. It's actually nicknamed Sir God because his name is Godwin. Sir Godwin Rod.
Okay, it has to at least be Godrod.
Sir Godrod.
Sir Godrod.
But listen, Godwin Rod, better name than Percival Graves.
But Percival Graves is not a bad name. I want to be clear about that.
No, Percival Graves is a great name.
Yeah. But
yes.
But yeah.
But when the alternative is Godwin Rod, it's fun. Listen, funny names are funny, and I will die on that hill.
Yeah. I mean,
funny names are funny is a bit recursive. Funny names are good comedy. That is a hill I will die on.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
Listen, I don't know why you're putting such a fight up to this. It's just simple that funny names are good comedy.
Yeah.
And I will stand on attention for that. Yeah, this movie is silly and it's so aimless and toothless, and it's like, if it went harder and was more of a farce, I think it's a better movie.
Yes, absolutely.
I think if John Goodman is maybe more boorish and less intentionally charming, because he can't help being charming, he's John Goodman. But if he's like less intentionally charming, like picture that movie with Walter Sobchak in the same role. I think it's a better movie.
It is funny to think, by the way, that he made this around the same time he made Barton Fink.
Yeah.
Which is wild to think about. Like,
and only 2 years removed from Raising, or no, 4 years removed from Raising Arizona, where he plays an absolute psycho.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, I think I love John Goodman. He is phenomenal. I would argue the best SNL host in the short conversation.
I mean, that's a pretty like Steve Martin is my gut instinct.
Okay,
pick.
You know what?
Yeah,
I stand corrected.
Because I thought as a kid that Steve Martin was a cast member, and I was very surprised to learn that he never was. So I think that gives him the edge. But Goodman definitely top 5 probably.
Sure.
Yeah.
But no, that's very much I was today years old when I found out Steve Martin was never like, that's like that type of information, because he was one of the few hosts that had recurring characters in the early days.
Yeah.
The Christmas monologue is maybe the funniest single monologue that's ever happened on SNL.
Yeah, I watch it every year, like for Christmas. I seek that out. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's perfect. But yeah, I will concede that Steve Martin is a better host than John Goodman, but he is an all-time great host.
Absolutely. Yes.
But yeah, if he was, again, even if he had been a little bit more, he's kind of playing this very similar to Dan Connor, so maybe that's not the best bit. But I think if he was a little bit more loudmouth or a little bit more brash, or you see an arc of him going from being boorish to like rising to the standards. Cause like, I believe like watching this movie that day one King Ralph could give the same speech that the final King Ralph that abdicates could give that speech. You know, it doesn't feel like he grew and changed all that much.
Well, right. I think that's the problem though, is that I don't put that on him because like I said, I think his performance makes this movie watchable when it.
Oh no, it's not. It's purely script.
But that's what I was going to say is that he doesn't have anything to play. So any choice of like, he should be more boorish or he should be more anything, it like depends on them figuring out what their perspective is and what the arc of the movie is. Like, yeah, if it, you know, is just as simple as like, he's never stuck through with it. Or I don't know. What if he's just a guy that believed that there was a fortune out there waiting for him? He lives in Vegas. He's always gambling. He just believe, like you just see him in the beginning saying like, no, I'm telling you someday, you know,
one day I'm going to hit it big.
I'm going to hit it big. And that they're like, that's what everyone says. And then so he just wants to be king purely selfishly to enrich himself and is looking to do that. And then realizes that he cares along the way or that he wants to be a good king or that he, you know, that he has a chance to do something meaningful. And we see him soften. He could have played all of that. Like I mean, that's the thing is the dude has range. He just, yeah, the King Ralph is not changed by becoming king, which is a weird thing to think about in this movie.
Yeah, that's so no. If I wasn't clear, none of the fault for that goes on one Jonathan Goodman.
Yeah,
none of it. The one that the only other thing I definitely want to talk about before pivoting is the end credits.
Okay.
So after he abdicates, he's given a peerage. He's basically given the title that his grandfather had. So he's now the 4th Duke of Windsor or whatever whatever the title ends up being. And then it cuts to him with Miranda and their child. That child is 3 years old. And it does not seem like there was a 3-year time jump between when he was given that patronage and when he's singing Duke of Earl with those costume people. Putting on a concert for his wife and child, apparently, is the only ones there. Like, they couldn't just have her carry, like, not actually show the baby, just have like a bassinet or her just holding the blankets or something.
Or a bump. Could have just been.
Or a bump.
Pregnant, you know?
Yeah. Although a pre-silver lining is that toddler is credited as King Ralph II.
That's fantastic. No notes.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal.
But all that said, there's nothing else in particular that I would like to malign.
No, yeah.
Should we talk more about Jolie Richardson and the dumb voice before we?
I mean, like you and I talked about it off the air, where it's like it feels so silly as to not be worth diving into. Like I don't think they thought about it that much. I think you could do a take of this movie about that being problematic, and I don't think someone would be wrong if they took that from it. But I think it gives the movie too much credit, as if they thought anything beyond what if she talked funny.
See, here's I don't think it's problematic.
Yeah,
because there aren't jokes like. It's acknowledged that she has a very deep voice.
The only joke is that he says she has a voice like a tuba, which is just accurate.
Yeah, it's just a true statement.
Yeah.
It's not implied that she is, you know, that her gender's ambiguous in any way or anything like that. None of that is done, which is shocking for 1991.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
But in a more farcical movie, that joke lands harder.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's also like
that's
it is kind of a strange thing where like they don't really make anything like outside of the voice. Again, it's sort of his complaints about her is that her voice sounds like a tuba and that she really wants to have like aggressive sex with him in public. Which is like, I mean, look, one man's complaints are another man's perfect woman. So I don't even know like what his problem
in
is.
1991, Jolie Richardson did not have a hard time finding men to have sex with. I'm going to go out on a limb and make that claim.
In 2025, I doubt she does.
That's also probably fair.
Yeah.
But no, it's yeah. All that said, I'm ready to hit the pivot.
John Goodman.
John Goodman.
Yeah, it
night,
starts with John Goodman. I said it at the beginning, but you can never say it enough. I think he's one of our finest actors. I literally think this movie would be worse with anyone else playing Ralph.
Yeah. There's no way this, like, I don't think this movie gets made without someone with John Goodman's charm in that role. But yeah, he's so good in everything he does. And this is not an exception.
Absolutely.
Like, this movie is bad, but yeah, he, listen, from the opening clip, when he's bowling wearing the crown jewels with a chin strap, that's also, much like Funny Names, good comedy.
Yes. Yeah. I want to, like, so there's a funny thing with the clip that I want to talk a little bit more about it because, so like I said, I watched this movie a lot when I was a kid. That less than 1 minute segment of the movie, I remember more strongly than anything else in the movie. And I thought more of the movie was like that. I would say that section, which is very brief, is the best version of the movie by far.
Well, I think there's two reasons for that. One, because it's the best part of the movie.
Yes.
Two, because that scene was the ad for when they said, coming up at 3, John Goodman and King Ralph.
Oh, him clipping the guy's ear with the sword, I remember so distinctly because like that got a lot of mileage. Like they definitely played that a lot. Yeah. And again, him bowling into the vase. Like I really remember strongly.
I had completely forgotten about Jolie Richardson and the dumb voice until I rewatched it this time.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of remembered the mistress plot line, the affair, but I didn't remember the arranged marriage. I didn't remember anything about building cars, like any of the king of fictional African nation Zambezi. Zambezi, good name by the way. That's a silver lining. I like saying Zambezi,
which is a real river in Africa.
Yeah,
the Zambezi River is a real thing. This movie does have phenomenal actors in its cast.
Yeah.
Richard Griffiths, Peter O'Toole, John Hurt, Jolie Richardson, Julian Glover, like really, really great actors.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I was obviously being, glib at the beginning, but Peter O'Toole, I mean, he's great. As close as this movie has to any sort of coherent idea about what it's doing, he is the actual heart of the movie. Like the reveal that he is actually the true heir or the heir that should take over. It's one of those things that, like, if you think about it, you're like, what? Why would he do that? That doesn't make any sense. But I think he sells it so well as just being like such a true, like, I want this guy to succeed. I care very much about the symbol of the crown. I care very much about Ralph doing a good job. And it is that thing that I do believe, which is like probably people who should be in positions of power are people who inherently are like, I do not want to be in a position of power. Like that's the person you should look to.
No, I wanting to be president or any of that is objectively a character flaw.
Yeah, it should be disqualifying. Like seeking that amount of power we should all question anyone who would want that.
And in the early days of the American democratic experiment, as we slowly bring it to a close, that was the case, that campaigning for president was considered like boorish and unethical, that it was something, an honor bestowed upon you by the wealthy landed gentry that wanted to pick you. Problematic for different reasons, but
yeah,
arguably.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the first person that like openly campaigned for and won president is Andrew Jackson. What does that say?
Yeah.
He was, I used to say, the closest president we've ever had to a supervillain. Don't know if I can make that claim anymore.
No, we have a real one.
Well, see, this is our second real, it's our second real one. But Andrew Jackson was way out in front before 45, 47.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, John Hurt, right?
Dude, John Hurt, listen, what a, he has the best reedy voice of all time.
No, I think I did message you something along the lines of no one should ever trust John Hurt, like in a movie. Like, absolutely. If he shows up and you're the hero, like you're the protagonist of a movie, watch the fuck out. Like, that dude is coming for you.
He's either got an alien gestating in his stomach that's going to kill the entire crew, or he's planning to murder you all.
Yeah, but look at it. Like everything that happened in the movie Alien happened. It started with him. He's bad news.
Listen, the Time War happened because of John Hurt.
That's true too. Yeah, I forgot his Doctor Who connection, which also, I don't know. I feel like you were a little quick to brush off Camille Coduri, who, I mean, no,
she was fine. She was great.
Those first two seasons of the new Doctor Who with where we get David Tennant and we get Rose. I always liked Rose's mom quite a bit. And I think she has a very specific gear. I think this character could be Rose's mom. I think that she's playing.
I don't think that it's necessary. I'm not convinced that she's not Rose's mom.
That's what I'm saying. There's nothing that makes it not fit. But like, she's really good at playing that. Like she just has that, like, like the part
blue
of
collar aesthetic.
Yeah. The blue collar England that like Americans don't think of when they think of England, but the non-posh, just sort of like, sort of the other side. By the way, man, we pivoted and I forgot to malign the fact that this movie doesn't know what punks are and how to write them at all, but whatever.
Yeah.
We moved on.
We've moved on, but that was dumb and bad.
But it was like they just knew the hair, and then they were like, "That's what punks are like. They like the king," because that's famously their thing.
Yeah, you know who really loves the king? Punk musicians.
But yeah,
God save the Queen.
I mean, a lot of them weirdly became conservative later in life, so maybe that's true now. But
yeah, I mean. One of the Ramones, who was not British but became a ridiculous conservative. Johnny Rotten is a garbage human.
Yeah. There's also
others.
There's also a very funny Fred Armisen sketch about him being a punk musician who loves the Queen, which I recommend if people haven't seen it. But
that sketch is like a biography or documentary now.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
sort of a prototype for that. Yeah.
But also, Richard Griffiths, shout out.
Richard Griffiths is great.
Yeah.
He's such, if all you know him as Vernon Dursley, you're doing yourself a disservice because he's another great British character actor.
I always think of him because I think it was the first thing I ever saw him in, from Naked Gun 2.5, which he's really great in as well. He's like he's supposed to give this really important speech about energy. And he's very funny in that, but he's a great comedic actor and just a good character actor in general. And I liked this gear of him of just being just likable. Like he was just a good dude,
a good dude.
Yeah, which is a nice gear for him.
You know what? I'm not going to pretend to know Richard Griffiths at all, but I don't think he'd hate if his epitaph was Richard Griffiths, just a good dude.
Yeah. Which is good because it's better than the other one that pops into my mind which is Richard Griffiths. I once watched Leslie Nielsen try to buff a tattoo off his ass. And that's just not as good of, like, it's true, But is that
It's not false. That is an objectively true statement. It is. The only other thing I'll say is this movie has an incredibly solid premise.
Yes.
And incredibly poor execution.
Yes. Yeah.
There is a very good movie with this identical premise to be made. Some might say it was Mr. Deeds. I wouldn't, but
what's the Anne Hathaway's at The Princess Diary? Isn't that something along these lines?
It's along similar lines.
Yeah.
She finds out that she's an heiress to the small mountain alpine nation of Genovia.
Yeah.
So and Princess Diaries is great.
Yeah. So that's, you got that going. But
the idea of someone being thrust into that level of public eye being just a random schlub makes sense. Also, we shouldn't leave without talking about John Goodman singing, because he did all of his own singing in this movie.
Yeah, which is very obvious. Like, yeah, he so obviously is doing his own singing. And John Goodman, he has that kind of singing. I think the only word I can think to describe it, and I mean this as a compliment to be clear, is bombastic.
Yeah, I think that's an apt description of his vocal stylings.
Like he sings at you, like aggressively, but in a way that I enjoy. I mean, like he's just like, like at the end of this, he's standing up and he's really tickling those ivories. He's shaking his ass. Like he can't stay seated in order to play a piano. Like,
harpsichord.
The man's got to move,
He's got to move. He's got to dance. This is like we said at the top. This is one of those movies that I think everybody caught on TV 1,000 times in the 90s. If your childhood was anything like ours, and it's, I think I don't know. It's not good, but John Goodman is. And
I think also what has been clear as we've been discussing this is quintessentially, when you really distill it down, a bowling movie. It's a movie about bowling.
It's objectively about a turkey.
It's about bowling. And I think it makes sense why, if you were to search bowling movies and on our modern 2025 internet, which definitely isn't broken and is enhanced by AI, that this would come up on lists of bowling movies. I think that makes total sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it absolutely should be there.
Yep.
Gobble, gobble.
Boop, ba-doo-doo, boop, boo.
Silver Linings Playback is a production of HoboTrashcan.com. If you enjoyed the show, please rate or review it on Apple Podcasts. Hear more great shows on the Peak Sloth Podcast Network.